All right, welcome back to Jack of All Trades, a guidance channel for young men. Since the last two have kind of been on personal responsibility and things that you do within yourself, I thought we'd break from the mold a little bit today, and we're going to talk about physical strength. This is something that, as a young man, you need to work on, you need to be conscious of, and it's something that you need to strive for. We have a quote here from Buddha: "To keep the body in good health is a duty. Otherwise, we shall not be able to keep our minds strong and clear." And I think what you'll see here is I'm just going to place an emphasis on it is important for you to work on your body. It's important for you to work out. It's important for you to focus not only on your cardio, but also on your physical strength. I think as a man, you should do some strength training. And that doesn't mean you have to be a bodybuilder. It doesn't mean you have to be this big, hulking, huge guy. But you need to be strong enough to defend yourself. You need to be strong enough to protect those that you love and those around you. And as a man, it's an important quality for you to have physical strength. John F. Kennedy had a really good quote for this. Physical fitness is not only one of the most important keys to a healthy body, it is the basis of dynamic and creative intellectual activity. The relationship between the soundness of the body and the activities of the mind is subtle and complex. Much is not yet understood. But we do know what the Greeks knew, that intelligence and skill can only function at the peak of their capacity when the body is healthy and strong. And I think his point there is really important to understand, and that's, everything in your body is connected. It's all connected, and if you can't ignore any of it. So you can't only focus on physical strength. You don't want to be a meathead who only focuses on physical strength and can't read a book or doesn't read a book. You got to balance yourself, and so you should focus. You should expand your horizons mentally. You should read books that you haven't read before. Challenge some of your ideas. Read fiction, read nonfiction, read autobiographies, read about things that maybe you don't know about, and expand yourself. And in the same way, you need to do that physically. If you only focus on your mind and never on your physical body, you're not completing the whole picture. You're only getting a piece of it. So to be a complete man, you need to bring it all together. So today, obviously, we're talking about physical strength, and it's one component of all the things that we'll talk about on this channel. It's one piece, but it's an important piece. It's one that a lot of the intellectual guys that I know kind of forget about and kind of leave out, and I can kind of see that. Some of the smartest people I know, when you see them, they're just dragging, and they don't have energy, and a lot of that I think is because they have neglected their body for so long. They don't even realize that they're in a rut, and they are. They're in a rut from not paying attention to other aspects of themselves besides the intellectual. Brad Schoenfeld he's kind of one of the leading guys on body composition, something I'm into, and he's won some bodybuilding competitions. He's kind of recognized as an authority on physical training. And so he says here, resistance training is, in my opinion, the most important activity for overall health and wellness. If you can only choose to do one thing, I'd say lifting would provide the greatest benefits. And so I think that's debatable, right? That's his opinion. I think there's plenty of people who wouldn't agree with that, but it's a piece of it. It's definitely a piece, and it's not a piece that you should ignore, and it's definitely not a piece you should ignore as a man. And so as you can see, I probably my background here is a little different than normal. I'm in the gym that I have in my garage where I do a lot of my strength training. And what I'll say is you don't have to have a lot of equipment, especially if you're just starting out. So if you've never worked out before, you don't need to start by walking in and trying to bench press or squat or a bunch of weight or any of those things. You can do a lot of things that are free. Push-ups, squats, lunges, go for a run. If you can find a place to do pull-ups, that's great as well. Sit-ups. You can do all those for free. It doesn't cost you a dime. So run a couple miles. Or, if you can't run a couple miles, start by walking. Walk 1 mile. Walk 1 mile. And walk that until you're pretty comfortable with it, and then walk 2 miles. Or 1.5 miles if you have to, and slowly increase. And start jogging when you can. And jog when you can, and then if you have to start walking a little bit. And just build yourself up. Slowly build yourself up by doing more and continually improving your body. And I think you'll find that you're sharper at school, you're sharper when you're trying to read or when you're trying to focus and do other things. You'll be happier, you'll have more focus. It will affect you mentally, probably a lot more than what you think. And you can do all those things for free. Start doing push-ups. I have my kids. They wake up in the morning, I have them do 1 set of push-ups to failure, and that's it. It's not very difficult. but they do it every day. They do it in the morning and they do it at night. And we're going to start building into other things. We're going to start working some squats into there. And it's all free and it doesn't take much time at all. And if you do, say you did 50 push-ups every morning and 50 push-ups every night, do the math. See how many push-ups you do in a year. It'll make a huge difference. And you can just add on that and build on that. And then once you get strong and once you can do some pull-ups and you can do a bunch of push-ups, then start thinking about maybe going to the gym. But you'll feel so much better. And here would be my challenge to you. If you're not into working out and you're not into, building any kind of physical strength, take 2 weeks and do this challenge. Take 1 week and start with working out. Take 1 week, work out every day. Do some sort of cardio, do some kind of running or jogging or walking, enough to get your heart rate up for at least 20 to 30 minutes, and then do some form of strength training. Push-ups, pull-ups, squats, lunges, build up a sweat, do it enough that you build up a sweat, and do that every day for a week. And then see how you feel. Maybe you make a journal and write down. You will feel better. I think you will, and I think you'll find that you'll feel better. You'll have more confidence. You'll be happier. You'll probably get better sleep. You'll feel a lot better. Then the next week, don't do any of those things and see how you feel. You're going to be grumpy and lethargic, and you're not going to sleep, and you're just going to kind of feel like crap. And I noticed that when I haven't worked out for a little while and things get crazy in my life, and we got a lot of sports going on with the kids, and all kinds of stuff happening, and I'm like, man, I am just grumpy, and I don't feel great, and I'll realize, well, I haven't worked out in a couple days. That's really it, and I'll go get a workout, and it doesn't have to be long. I'll go work out for 30 minutes, and I feel like a new man. And I think hopefully you'll see that as well. So if you're skeptical to this idea, just try it. Try 1 week of working out, 1 week of not working out. Just see how you feel the difference. Not just physically, but even mentally. And I think that maybe, or should hopefully, sell you on that point. Socrates had another quote here. What a disgrace it is for a man to grow old without ever seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. And again, he was a philosopher, he was a thinker, and even he understood a long time ago the importance of physical strength. And so you need to work on your physical strength. And that's ultimately what this video boils down to is you shouldn't ignore it. You should totally pay attention to it. And it's a piece of the puzzle. It's a piece of all the other things that you need to be doing. And there's a lot of other things, obviously, but strength training cannot and should not be ignored. Joseph Pilates, he's the guy who invented Pilates, which I can't say I've done much of, but I really liked some of the things he has to say here. Physical fitness is the first requisite of happiness, so it's the first thing you need for happiness. And again, is that debatable? Absolutely. Sure it is. But is physical fitness important? Absolutely. If you're physical fit, will you be more happy? Absolutely. There's no doubt. And I've done it enough times in my life where things have gotten hectic and busy and I haven't worked out for a week or two, and I find myself just feeling awful. And honestly, I eat worse. I'm not as nice to people. There's all these things, and I'll go get a couple workouts in the gym, and all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, let me get back to eating more of these vegetables and eating healthy again, and I'm nicer, and I'm happier, and I sleep better. And I think you'll find the same thing. And so not only do you need to be physically fit, or not only do you need this physical strength to protect yourself, right? To be able to protect yourself, to be able to protect others. As a man, you should be a protector. You should be someone who is able to defend yourself and to protect others. And I'm not advocating, obviously, any kind of violence, but the best deterrent is to be big enough that someone doesn't want to mess with you. I'm not saying you have to be, a big meathead who only works out and is huge and overly muscular. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you should be strong enough to be able to take care of yourself. And if you're not, and if you don't do any physical training and you're never focused on your physical strength at all, there will be a time in your life where you will need some strength, or you'll need to be able to defend yourself, or you'll need to be able to protect those that you love, and you won't be able to. And honestly, you're just going to feel like a huge wimp, and that's avoidable. And it's regrettable that happens to people, but you can avoid that situation. So again, simple stuff: push-ups, pull-ups, squats, lunges, sit-ups. All that's free. You can go run, right? Work on some of your endurance. All of that is 100% free. Start there if you're not doing anything else. And then find somebody who knows what they're doing in the gym. So find somebody who knows what they're doing and have them take you to the gym and teach you techniques. You want to do things the right way in the gym. You don't want to learn bad habits. And a lot of people go in the gym and hurt themselves by doing things the wrong way, by squatting and using their back instead of their legs, and all these things. And there's books on it, and there's videos on it, and if there's interest, I could always make a video on that as well. But the best thing you can do is find somebody who knows what they're doing and then just tag along. And I think you'll find most people that are into strength training are more than willing to let you tag along and teach you what they know. So Joseph Pilates also said physical fitness can neither be achieved by wishful thinking nor outright purchase. And that's the last quote I have here because, again, we always kind of talk about being intentional, and your physical strength it's an intentional thing. It's not just going to happen. And if you're not intentional about it and you don't focus on it and you don't do it frequently, you'll lose it or you'll never get it. And so it's not just going to happen. And you can't think, all right, that time that I'm going to need it, I'll man up, and that one time that in life I'm going to have to defend myself or that I'll need the strength for something, I'll be able to do it. I'll make it happen. You won't. You won't be prepared, and you won't be mentally or physically tough enough or capable enough to be able to do it. And so hopefully I've convinced you a little bit today that you need to focus on physical strength. It is important. And there's plenty of books and articles out there that do link physical activity to mental health and happiness and all these things. There's a book called Spark that's really good that highlights some of these things. But ultimately, you need to work on not just your physical fitness, but your strength. Don't just run. Don't just do cardio. You need to also build some muscle so that you can protect yourself. And there's tons of health benefits also for strength training. And so I think if you really got into it, you gave it a chance, and you tried it, and you put a little bit of muscle on, you would probably like it, and then maybe you would pursue it more. And again, not to be a huge, massive guy, but big enough to be able to lift things up, big enough to be able to protect your family, protect those that you love, and defend yourself and protect yourself. And so it's very important. So physical strength, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. As always, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe if you liked it. We're trying to build up a little bit of a following here. So if you like what you're listening to, leave a comment, let me know, and tell your friends, please, and go work out. Thanks.